Imagine you come across a brutal execution video and you're convinced it's a real murder, but nobody believes you. Today I'm recapping and reviewing the new 2026 horror Faces of Death. So hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. We start in an office where employees spend all day watching videos and deciding which ones are allowed online and which ones need to be removed. Do they still have these jobs, or is it just AI? Our main character, Margot, comes across an execution video, but before she can finish reviewing it, she's interrupted by her boss, Josh, who asks if she'll lead orientation tomorrow. She agrees, gets back to work, and allows the beheading video because it's probably fake. Which I feel like she should still flag it because it depicts violence. Something like that would not be allowed on TikTok. On her way out of work, she sets off the metal detector because of her steel-toed boots. I pointed that out in my notes because I was pretty sure it would come back later. Back at her creepy apartment building, one of her neighbors gives her a weird look, and we'll soon figure out why. Inside, we meet her painter roommate Ryan, who's watching a gory movie, something Margot isn't a fan of. Ryan invites her to some girl Cassie's housewarming party. She immediately says no, but he convinces her to start getting back out into the world. So, something definitely happened in her past. When Margot struggles to open a jar, Ryan hands her a lipstick with a hidden knife inside, another thing I assumed would come back later. While they're at a convenience store, Ryan tries to take a picture of Margot tying a cherry stem with her tongue, but she stops him, reminding him that she stays completely offline. Then a couple of girls recognize her from the train video, and Margot immediately leaves upset. Back to hiding in her room, a very cool room, may I add. Margot scrolls through old photos and listens to old voicemails from her sister, who I can guess must have died in a train accident. Margot also uses a flip phone, so originally I thought this movie was maybe set in the early 2000s, which would have explained why actual people are manually moderating videos instead of AI. But it turns out she just doesn't want to be involved with social media. The next day, Margot leads orientation for the new hires, reminding everyone that looking into the videos that they're assigned is against their NDA. Hint, hint. During her lunch, she ends up eating on the roof where she runs into Charlie XCX smoking. She's not an amazing actor, but she plays Gabby. Gabby says she likes the job because of the rush of watching the videos. Weirdo. Back at her desk, Margot flags a video claiming Narcan can reverse an overdose. She doesn't claim the beheading video, but... Then she comes across another execution video. This time, someone's being electrocuted. Unsure what to do, she asks Josh, who tells her to allow it because DIY horror is trending. Okay, Josh. And then the video triggers a panic attack connected to whatever happened with her sister. Then we cut to a guy named Arthur scrolling through an app called Kino, the movie's version of TikTok, which is what told me we weren't in the 2000s. Arthur comes across an influencer named Sam and starts stalking her using a cell phone database at his job. Jobs like that should have background checks. At the pool, Sam hangs out with her friend and films a TikTok dance. Meanwhile, a suspicious car watches her from nearby. Later, in the locker room, Sam starts taking selfies before realizing there's a shadow of someone standing behind her. Then one of her videos starts playing from a phone that's been taped to a shower wall. She tries to escape but is attacked by a masked man who chokes her until she passes out. Back at work, Margot allows a fighting video, but flags a video about condoms. One's violence and one's educational, so I don't know what the policies are here. Then she finds yet another execution video. This one shows a man's head getting smashed open, and she finally decides to flag it. Later, Margot shows up to a work party on the beach, but can't stop thinking about the videos. She brings them up to Josh, who tells her censorship is a slippery slope, and reminds her that she can't fix everything. Okay, bro. That night, Margot has a nightmare, combining the execution videos with what happened to her sister, and we see the truth. She and her sister Sophie were filming a TikTok, jumping across the train tracks. Sophie slips and gets hit by an oncoming train. I'm sorry, but trying to jump across the train tracks when a train is literally coming is one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. Unable to let it go, Margot Googles how to tell if a snuff film is real, and she ends up finding the execution videos online and posts them to Reddit, asking if anyone thinks they're real. And now she's getting herself involved, which means the killer is probably about to notice her. The Reddit people confirm it's real and even link a missing person to one of the victims. Meanwhile, we cut back to Arthur, who has moved on to his next victim. This time, it's an anchor man named Neil. Arthur follows him home, then intentionally cuts his own hand so Neil will feel obligated to help him. He introduces himself as Francis and says his girlfriend Claire lives a few houses away. The two chat over a beer, and Arthur mentions that he makes videos for a living on the app Kino. Then Neil's son Drew enters, but when he sees Arthur's face, Arthur rushes out of there. That night, Neil watches the news about a woman jumping to her death, which I thought would be connected, but I guess it's not. Also, it's funny that Neil is watching the news considering he's the one delivering it, so I guess he just likes to watch himself. He's interrupted by strange noises and the lights go out. When Neil checks the electrical panel, he notices it's been taped over. He assumes Drew did it, which is insane because why would his son randomly sabotage the power? But before he can figure it out, a masked man appears and injects him with something that knocks him unconscious. Drew enters, finds his dad, but unfortunately gets attacked too. Back at Margot's workplace, her coworkers are laughing about the execution videos. Margot gets angry and tells them someone could actually be dying in those videos. And even if they are fake, why is watching people get murdered funny? That's like laughing at a horror movie. Later, Margot checks the Reddit post, and someone mentions that the videos remind them of Faces of Death. They said the thing. Margot researches the movie and realizes her roommate Ryan actually owns a copy, which is very convenient. She watches the movie and sees the smashing of the head scene, but in the movie it's a monkey, which is devastating. Hated that. Skipping ahead, she finds the execution scene from the videos, but before she can watch more, Ryan interrupts her. Margot asks him about it, and he explains that Faces of Death is basically like a cursed collection of people dying in different ways, except the movie is fake. Margot shows Ryan the execution videos and explains that a victim looks like a missing person. Ryan asks if she reported at work, but Margot says nobody would do anything, and if she goes to the police, Kino could find out and she could lose her job or even get sued because of the NDA. So instead, she comes up with another plan. If she can get the metadata from the video, she might be able to find out where it was filmed. Like, sure, let's solve this ourselves. She uses Ryan's lipstick knife to cut into the soles of her boots, because apparently those steel-toed boots from earlier were important after all. At work, Margot removes her boots before going through the metal detector, clearly now hiding something inside. She gives Josh some concert tickets as a thank you for putting up with her, and it just so happens he has to leave right now. So Margot offers to finish up his work for him. He agrees and lets her onto his computer. While Josh is gone, Margot pulls out an external drive from her boot and copies every video with the FOD 2024 hashtag onto it. Meanwhile, we cut back to Arthur, who enters his basement where Faces of Death is playing on the TV, and his 3 victims are locked inside cages. He gives Sam some food and tells her that she should be grateful because she wanted fame and now everyone is talking about her. Careful what you wish for. According to Arthur, he's just giving people what they want. The first rule of content creation. He then sets up Neil for his next video. Neil is placed in front of mannequins holding guns. Arthur gives him a gun and 1 bullet and tells him he has the chance to shoot him. But before Neil can even put the bullet into the chamber, the mannequins fire and kill him. Arthur cleans Neil's blood off his shoes frantically because apparently he does not like blood touching him, and he watches the comments rolling in. One person says the video looks like a student film, and Arthur replies from another account saying maybe that person is next. So I wonder if that's how he chooses his victims, by getting hate comments. Don't leave hate comments, guys. It's like road rage. You never know who you're insulting. Back with Margot, she uploads the raw footage from her drive to Reddit and asks people to track where the videos were filmed or uploaded from. Unfortunately, Arthur is watching. He finds an article about Sam being missing and puts it through a tracking website that reveals whoever clicks the link, which now has me scared to click any link. He then comments that link under Margot's post, she clicks it, and now Arthur has her address. Great. Side by side, Margot researches Sam while Arthur researches Margot. And of course, he finds the train video. And I still cannot get over the fact that they were trying to outjump a train. Margot brings everything she knows to the police, but the detective tells her she needs actual bodies before they can investigate a homicide. Bruh. So videos of the missing people being murdered apparently isn't enough. Amazing system. At work, Josh fires Margot after finding out she left stimulants in his office. She may be one of the most frustrating horror protagonists I've ever seen. She gets angry at him for not taking the video seriously, and he reminds her that she signed an NDA. That night, Margot finds the Neil video, then types up an intense Reddit post, compiling all the info and evidence, and she's definitely next. Margot finally opens up to Ryan and explains why she became so obsessed with these videos. She got her job because she wanted to clean up the internet after what happened to her sister. After Sophie died, the police leaked the video of her death, and Margot watched as people turned something traumatic into entertainment. Margot says Kino doesn't care about stopping this, they care about views, engagement, and keeping people watching, and she believes that if she can stop these videos from spreading, maybe something good could come from Sophie's death. Unfortunately, Arthur is already outside her apartment, already got his mask ready and everything. Somehow Arthur knows the code to get into the building, I'm guessing from his job at the cell phone company. They really just be giving these random workers access to everyone's information. He picks a lock to Margot's apartment, and poor unsuspecting Ryan is attacked and drugged. He didn't even want anything to do with this, so Margot continues to piss me off. A few moments later, Margot comes out of her room and immediately gets attacked. I guess she didn't hear Ryan being attacked. She sees Ryan lying there bleeding, but she passes out from the drugs. When she wakes up, she's in a cage next to Drew and Sam in Arthur's basement, with the train video playing in front of her. Meanwhile, Arthur's having a great time. He sees Margot's Reddit post and loves the attention he's getting. The story made it onto the news, and people online are recreating versions of the videos as jokes. Again, insane. Back in the cage, Margot manages to pull her sweater closer and finds the lipstick knife Ryan gave her, finally paying off. She uses it to cut herself free, while Arthur goes live and starts recording himself pouring acid over Ryan's body. Margot uses the knife to unscrew the cage and escapes. She grabs the keys and frees Sam. Sam tells her they need to leave while Margot is still trying to ask questions about the guy in the videos. Again, being an annoying protagonist. Ask questions later. They try to save Drew, but his cage won't open, so they promise to come back for him and leave him behind. The girls make it upstairs, and while Sam wants to get out immediately, Margot decides she needs to search the house for more evidence. Because putting Arthur away for kidnapping and murder isn't enough, she needs to be proven right about the videos. Margot searches through Arthur's computer and finds raw footage of the videos while Sam searches for an exit. The doors won't open. I'm not sure if she tries to lock though. So Sam smashes it open and Arthur hears. Sam makes a run for it, but Arthur shoots her from upstairs, which is so frustrating because she clearly has better survival instincts than Margot, who is still inside the house. Margot puts on a mannequin hat and hides behind clear plastic, hoping Arthur won't notice her, and it works. Margot escapes through the same exit Sam used and runs away, though Arthur follows and shoots, but misses, and then he just lets her get away. Some random lady ignores her pleas and drives away, which is insane, but she gets through to the cops on her phone. But she's more upset that the FOD drive has a bullet hole in it than the fact that she was almost shot dead. I feel like at this point she would have rather that bullet hit her than that drive. Meanwhile, Arthur brings an injured Sam back inside and yay, she's still alive, but Arthur calls 911 to report an incident. And I don't think he's about to turn himself in. Margot brings the cops to Arthur's house, but he's already told the cops that Margot trespassed and she's obsessed with him. She ends up acting crazy, so of course the cops believe him. Imagine every time someone was kidnapped, the kidnapper just claims they trespassed. She is literally bleeding from her head. This is the most frustrating watch in history. They legit just had to go inside. Back inside the house, Arthur brags to Sam about his performance and how they haven't seen anything yet. Margot is treated at the hospital while Arthur figures out his next move. He texts Margot that she has 1 hour to return his drive or Sam and Drew die. She cries while the doctor asks if she's an addict because they found fentanyl in her blood. I feel like at this point you show someone the text, but no. She exits the hospital, gives herself Narcan from the nurse, and casually goes back to the serial killer's house. Girl. I don't even know what else to say about her. Arthur tells her to empty her pockets, and at this point I'm surprised the drive isn't in them. Just a lipstick, which he lets slide. She tells him that the drive is somewhere safe. Inside the house, he asks her if she's a fan of his work, and she says yes. He says that she's train girl, so she must understand him. She asks why he copies Faces of Death, and he says people love remakes, and if people love it, you can get away with murder, which is probably the best line in this movie. He leads her to the garage, where Sam and Drew are already dead. I don't know why Margot thought she was just gonna walk out with them, and Arthur wouldn't mind. He gives her the drug to stab herself, saying he wants her to go out with flair, so she drugs herself. He tells her that her sister was a real face of death, and she will be too. And as he approaches her, she stabs him with the lipstick knife. And she's not as dumb as I thought. Revealing the Narcan, I guess, stopped her from passing out. They fight, he falls in the blood and freaks out. which I don't think you should be a serial killer if you're afraid of blood, or a germaphobe or whatever. He tries to suffocate her, but she stabs him with part of the mannequin stand, I think that is. They fight some more, and she deals the killing blow, and reveals she was wired up, filming everything, which I don't know how the camera saw through her shirt. She tells the video that nobody would listen to her, but unfortunately she also looks so crazy. Margot uploads her video to Kino, while Arthur plays Faces of Death and laughs. I guess he likes this ending to his movie. And Margot starts getting a bunch of comments rolling in on her video, but she doesn't look happy, more like she's hooked on the attention. So maybe another monster was created. And that was Faces of Death. I wouldn't say I particularly enjoyed this one. It's been on my watch list for a while because the premise sounded really interesting, but I don't think it really stuck the landing for me. The idea of a content moderator trying to find out whether viral execution videos are actually real is genuinely creepy, especially with how desensitized people have become online. But the movie just got more and more frustrating as it went on, which I guess is kind of the point. Margot made so many decisions that had me yelling at my screen. It felt like she became more obsessed with proving she was right, rather than actually saving people. And you do not walk back into a serial killer's house. Please. Arthur also wasn't that compelling of a villain. He had an interesting motive on paper, but I never found him particularly intimidating or memorable. And the fact that the police completely bought his "she's just trespassing" story without even checking inside the house is insane. By the end, it felt like the movie kept piling on one frustrating decision after another, and I think Margot just got lucky to survive at the end. I did like the social media and internet commentary, and I think there was a really solid movie hiding in there somewhere, but the execution, no pun intended, just didn't work for me. 2 out of 5 stars. Like and subscribe for recaps, deep dives, and more. Comment below what you thought of this movie. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.